$100 after rebates. Visit any G&B Energy location or gbenergy.com to learn more.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Hello, America. No, I'm just playing. Hello, everybody. This is your favorite commissioner, Commissioner LaToya Rivers. Okay, I'm joking. I am one of your favorites, but I know my entire board are probably your favorites. But happy Monday. I am here at WSIC, and I have a very special panel discussion today. As you know, May is Affordable Housing Awareness Month. And I have two amazing panelists that have over a decade wealth of knowledge in affordable housing. And I wanted to just bring them on and educate our region about the importance of affordable housing. So with me today, I have Miss Mary Hunter, who is the Chief Executive Director of Affordable Housing for the Carolinas, as well as Mr. Kris Fountain, who is the Chief Executive Director of the Lake Norman CDC, is what we call it up here in the Northern region. So, yes. And so what I would like at this moment, I would like for them to introduce themselves. And I mean, I didn't toss a coin, but I heard Coach K was first up to introduce himself and just let us know who you are and what you do and just give us some background about your respective organization.
Well, thank you first and foremost for having me here, Commissioner Rivers. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be here with Mary Hunter as well, a good friend of mine. I am Kris Fountain. I serve as the CEO of Lake Norman Community Development Corporation, or also known as CDC. And my history kind of goes back, way back. I've been in this affordable housing space for about 30 years. And so when I say it's my life's work, I'm not exaggerating, I'm not bragging either. It has been a wonderful journey. And when you've been into something for about 30 years, it's kind of like a marriage. You fall in love, you fall out of love, and then you fall back in love again. So that's kind of how it's been for me. That's how it's been for me, really. And so, but, part of the reason in my heart behind affordable housing is because of how I grew up. I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth and so forth. And so I know what it's like to go to bed hungry.
Absolutely.
I know what it's like. I'm originally from Michigan, and it gets cold up there. I don't know if you know about that or not, but it gets a little snow.
I know about up north now. Listen, not saying that I've been up there during the cold. I usually go in the summertime, but I know about the cold.
Right,
so yes,
right.
yes.
That's why me and my family moved down here 15 years ago to the blue skies of North Carolina. But anyway, back then, growing up, it gets cold in the wintertime. I know what it's like to go through a winter without heat in the house, So that's really been my passion. That's been my drive. My grandmother was a wonderful influence in my life.
Wow.
She was at the ripe age of 54. She earned her general contractor's license, and she was the first African-American female in her county who had actually earned her general contractor's license.
Wow.
And she owned a lot of rental properties. So in the summertime, me and my brothers were, basically staying with her. And she was like, listen, I got all these rental properties and everything else like that. You guys are well-able bodies and boys.
That's it.
I'm going to teach you how to, paint and carpentry work and everything else like that. And so I got to the point at 8 years old, 9 years old. That was my summer job.
Okay.
And we got pretty good at it.
Wow.
Grandma taught us well.
That's awesome.
And we got to a point where we started earning money, earning enough money to pay for our own school clothes.
Wow.
So that helped me. That helped my mom. I was raised by a single mom. Planted the seed.
Absolutely.
So that's my story. That's my why.
Okay. All right. Well, Miss Hunter.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you for
And let me just say this. Let me just put this in here because neither are a stranger to me because I was actually privileged enough to work alongside the both of you with Habitat for Humanity.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I want to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to work alongside both of you and educating me on affordable housing, which also helped with the nonprofit organization that I was a part of, ensuring that, we were still pivotal on making sure that there was revitalization and preservation because those things are important too. It's not just
Yes.
about building homes, but we want to preserve what we have.
Mm.
So, Miss Mary Hunter, let us know who you are.
Sure. Well, my name is Miss Mary Hunter, recently married, formerly known as Mary Went. So a lot of people knew me by Mary Went. I grew up in homes. I'm not going to lie about that. I grew up in homes and understanding the value of a home from my grandparents to, me going on. I wasn't always with my biological family, but I was always in a home, whether I was in foster care or whether I was adopted. But at an early age, I learned about, organizing. I learned about engaging, and I did a lot of work around the country, to be honest with you, to help people, encourage them, empower them, passing policy. And so I've worked with a lot of government agencies. But here locally, actually, I came into the affordable housing arena because this man who's across the table from me today, Kris Fountain, he interviewed me. And that's when I moved from Texas. I was, in Texas. I moved here and he interviewed me at Habitat for Humanity. And I became the community engagement supervisor for Habitat for Humanity of the Charlotte region. That grew and they sparked a love inside of me for affordable housing. I'm a humanitarian by nature. However, one of the things that I did not know, moving from Houston, Texas, where I was a regional administrator, worked for the Department of Family and Protective Services there, but coming here to see the amount, the cost of housing, and that there was really no affordable housing. And then, I can name drop some people like Bob, who's over at Habitat, who had me out there helping people, actually doing some work. And I was like, oh, wait, this thing is real. So that passion grew, but also having you on the NROC committee at Habitat for Humanity, Kris hiring me there, enabling us to actually do the work that we did, is really what started our organization, Affordable Housing for the Carolina, because we saw some gaps in services. And so those gaps in services was not within the wheelhouse of Habitat for Humanity. And so we had so many powerful people around the table at NROC, from commissioners to people who are community leaders, to people who work for business organizations, to people who work in, colleges and universities. And out of that, that's how we started our nonprofit Affordable Housing for the Carolinas. And so I've been in this wheelhouse for the past 4 years since I've been here. And it's a blessing to be here.
Wow.
So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you both for being here again, for answering my call for little old me. I feel honored to have you both. And so, Mr. Fountain, I'm going to take this back over. Okay. I'm going to take this back over to you. So, okay. Well, before we go into my question for you, Mr. Fountain, we're going to take a commercial break. So we're just going to wrap it up right now. And we're just going to let y'all breathe and relax. And when we come back, I'm going to fire away. So y'all be ready.
Thank you.
Sit tight. We'll be back with more after this on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
We're kicking off the new work week on a warm note, a dry note for our Monday. Partly cloudy. We're back in the mid-80s this afternoon, cooling off into the low to mid-60s overnight. We'll stay warm on through the middle of the week, even with some extra clouds around. Keep the rain gear close by, too. A few pop-up showers or a storm possible late in the day for our Tuesday, and then another pop-up shower or storm chance coming up on Wednesday. Drier and a bit cooler to finish out the work week. That's your forecast. The WSIC Weather Center, meteorologist Chase Myers.
The app with Lake Norman deals. The WSIC app is out now, wherever you get your apps.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thursday night, Trial by Fire performs at Langtree Live in Mooresville. This Journey tribute band takes the outdoor stage at 7 p.m. for a free concert. Take exit 31 off I-77 and come join the party at Langtree Live in Mooresville on Thursday. Live music and great cocktails are ready for you at Bin 110 in Cornelius. Thursday, May 22nd features the Pluto for Planet duo. And on Friday night, Hey Ladies performs. The staff is eager to welcome you in for your favorite drinks from the bar and shareable plates from the kitchen. Bin 110 in Cornelius is ready for you. The Live Under the Oaks concert series at Brookdale Village in Huntersville continues Friday night with Matt Stratford. Matt's vocals and guitar playing begin at 6 p.m. on the stage in the plaza. Enjoy Matt Stratford Friday at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. The 500 Club presents live music on Sunday with a Memorial Day weekend music festival. The show begins at 2 p.m. and goes until 9 p.m. Call 704-872-9990 for more information. Golfing, food, beverages, and entertainment are all at the 500 Club in Statesville. The countdown is on for NASCAR's big showdown at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. Friday features an ARCA and Truck Series doubleheader. Saturday, the Xfinity Series competes in the BetMGM 300. Sunday is NASCAR's longest race, the Coca-Cola 600. Click on charlottemotorspeedway.com for ticket and camping information. NASCAR is back at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Make a splash this summer with the Harbor Hippos. Opening day is May 30th, and it's going to be a blast. Season, group, or single tickets are now available. Join us at Huntersville Athletic Park. Get all the details at www.harborhippos.com. It's time to play ball.
Hi, this is Joshua Dobie. Join me Thursdays at 4 p.m. for Dollars and Cents, a show that focuses on your personal financial journey and the markets around us. That's Dollars and Cents, Thursday afternoons at 4, here on WSIC.
All right, we're back with more from the Town of Huntersville on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
And we're back. And we're talking about the importance of affordable housing and how it affects us here in the northern region. And so I left off because, like I stated, I was going to ask Mr. Fountain a couple of questions and put him on the hot seat for a little bit. But when we went to commercial break, I learned a fun fact, and I'm going to let Mr. Fountain give us that fun fact. So go ahead, Mr. Fountain.
Yeah, as Mary was so graciously and eloquently sharing her story and how she became a part of Habitat Charlotte region, I did have the privilege of interviewing her and hiring her on as the community engagement supervisor. And I did something in 30 years of me doing this that I've never done before, ever.
Okay.
I actually offered Mary the job right on the spot
Wow.
on the first interview. That's how impressed.
So that speaks volumes to you. Like,
I don't know if
wow.
it speaks volumes to me or if it speaks volumes to him.
So I think it was like that was God
But his
given
name
and
is
God
Coach
made.
K, though, right?
That is Coach K.
So
You said that.
give honor where honor is due. Across the table, Coach K, give it up.
Yes.
You guys are hilarious.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome. Listen, I'm about to ask my employer, like, did y'all hire me on the spot? Or was I like, did y'all have to consider me? Like, what?
Right.
I'm not even going to go there, but
Right.
anywho.
Right.
So, Mr. Fountain, can you please just give us an overview of the Lake Norman Community Development Corporation, what it does, what is it? Tell us
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the question and opportunity to explain that. I'll go back in the history about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There was a housing committee, Cornelius Housing Committee, that had taken place, and it had key stakeholders that were a part of that, and it was led by Mayor Woody Washam,
Okay.
and along with business owners, housing developers, bankers, community advocates, and so forth. So we all got together, and I was a part of that committee as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, from my understanding from Mayor Woody, it was a situation where he was getting so many inquiries from his constituency of where is the affordable housing
Wow.
in Cornelius.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
And so he was like, wait a minute, we need to really have a conversation.
Mhm.
And it took, and to take it a step even further, you know, there were people who were homeowners in Cornelius who were basically saying that, you know, homes are rising so fast and so rapidly that my children, my grown adult children,
Mhm.
couldn't afford to live here.
Absolutely.
There needs to be a change. And so,
Mhm.
to his credit, you know, we started the committee. We had an assessment, and we basically were determining, you know, does it make sense to have some kind of organization to kind of lead the charge in helping and assisting and curating affordable housing opportunities.
Wow.
And that's basically how Lake Norman CDC came to birth, basically. Out of that committee,
Mhm.
the determination was that, yes, there needs to be something. And at that point in time, this is about 3 years ago, at that point in time, it was called the Cornelius CDC, or
Mhm.
Cornelius Community Development Corporation,
Mhm.
because that was the primary focus.
Right.
As they evolved, they realized that, you know what, we need to expand this to the Lake Norman CDC. And so essentially, what we do, Lake Norman CDC, is that we curate pathways and opportunities for working families and individuals in the tri-towns of
Mhm.
Huntersville,
Okay.
Cornelius, and Davison. And so basically, what that all entails is that we're all about advocating.
Mhm.
I really appreciate Commissioner Rivers, you giving us this opportunity to highlight that this is Affordable Housing Awareness Month in
Yes.
May. There's a lot of
Yes.
other important things in May that are, you know, too, as well.
They
But
are.
it is Affordable Housing Awareness
Mhm.
Month as well. And so I just appreciate that. And that's basically what we're all about. We're all about trying to support both renters as well as potential home buyers and
Mhm.
homeowners
Mhm.
as it relates to affordable housing.
And I want to say, I commend the town of Huntersville and Mayor Washam for even taking that step to address the problem of affordable housing. A lot of times I think affordable housing is taboo, and there is a stigma around affordable housing and the residents and who lives there and what does that consist of and money and all of that. And so, having this experience, how do we as commissioners, elected officials, and even residents, and even directors of grassroots nonprofit organizations, how do we break that stigma of affordable housing and its residents surrounding it? Like, what? How do we do that? What do we? What if you had to give some advice on that?
Great question. I would say that the face of affordable housing is different than what most people actually realize.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say it this way: people in Cornelius, people who work in Cornelius, people who work in Huntersville as well as Davison, 90% of those people cannot afford to live in those towns.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about first responders.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about, you know, firefighters,
Mm-hmm.
police officers.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about teachers. We're talking about nurses.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the people who teach your children and your grandchildren. We're talking about the people who care for your aging, you know, parents,
Mm-hmm.
or your grandchildren, you know, through childcare.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're talking about what, during the time of the pandemic, essential workers. These are the people that we're talking about. We're talking about people, hardworking people.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about individuals and families that, you know, if something were to happen, you know, they're the most financially vulnerable.
Mhm.
And so if something were to happen, let's say, for example, for some people, if the tire, you know, they got a blown tire,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's a minor inconvenience for some people,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a major crisis
Yeah.
for others.
Absolutely.
And so these are the things that I try to convey to people, that, you know, what you think and what you may not understand is that, you know, your favorite server at your favorite restaurant
Mhm.
is a person that needs affordable housing.
Absolutely.
I try to keep it. I try to keep it to where we like bring it home, because these are
Exactly.
people that
Mm-hmm.
you interact with.
On the
These
day
are
to
people on
day.
a day-to-day
Mm-hmm.
basis that, you know their first name. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? They make your day, you make their day, so on and so forth. And so that is the face of affordable housing. And that's, if there's anything that I would like for commissioners such as yourself and others and people of leadership to know is to help us really let people know that there is a face and there are souls behind this word called affordable housing.
Thank you. Because I think that, again, people shy away from affordable and they want to say attainable.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're talking about affordable. Let's be clear.
Right.
And although they intertwine, but affordable. Let's just call it what it is.
Yep.
So thank you for that. I appreciate it. So can you tell us about the rental bridge program and how does it service the people of Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson?
Yeah, the rental bridge program is one of our cornerstone signature programs that we have at Lake Norman CDC. And it started probably about 18 months ago.
Mhm.
And so essentially, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there are some stats that are out here. Like, let's say Mecklenburg County, there's roughly just under 150,000 households in Mecklenburg County. Now, 50%, almost 50% of those households are cost burden,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that they're paying more than 30% of their gross monthly income. And I put emphasis on gross, not the take home pay, gross monthly income towards rent.
Mm-hmm.
That's significant.
Mhm.
Mecklenburg County is the third county of the 100 counties we have in North Carolina that has the highest eviction rates.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you look at those types of things and you look at people who are trying to make ends meet, this is what the rental bridge program does. It tries to it provides rental assistance
Mm-hmm.
to working families and individuals, and it tries to bring down that rental rate below the 30%
Mhm.
gross monthly income rate. Makes it a lot more affordable for them. So, we have different caps. We have a cap where we provide financial assistance on a monthly basis, but it's capped at $500. It can't be any more than $500 per month.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd be amazed that, just $250, $300 a month, this program supports people up to 2 years. There is also a requirement, a financial education component requirement to it too, because we want to be able to have families, put them in a position where they can take advantage of this little breathing room that they have right now.
Absolutely.
To help them not only manage their finances, but then also look at how they can possibly grow those finances. So that is one of the components that's a part of it as well too, is that there is a financial education component behind the rental bridge program too.
Okay. And so how are residents made aware of this? Do they just come or is it like word of mouth? Do they go to the town hall?
Right.
How would we know as residents to come and ask for assistance?
Yeah, great question. I would say the first spot would go right to our website.
Okay.
And that's lakenormancdc.org
Mhm.
was our website. I think that would be the first place. It talks a lot in detail about the program, the qualifications, the income qualifications, and everything else like that. And I think that would be the best move.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Fountain. I appreciate you. And we're not done with you yet.
Well,
However,
I'm not off the hot seat.
no. Well, right now, I'm going to give you a little break. Because
Thank
when we
you.
come
Thank
back
you.
from commercial break, we have Mrs. Hunter, the new Mrs. Hunter. I know her as Mary Went. But to you all, she is Mrs. Hunter. So she will be up next. So we are going into commercial. And when we come back, we will have Miss Mary Hunter. Thank you.
Sit tight. We'll be back with more after this on WSIC 1059 100.7 1400 AM. Local starts here.
We're kicking off the new work week on a warm note, a dry note for our Monday. Partly cloudy. We're back in the mid-80s this afternoon, cooling off into the low to mid-60s overnight. We'll stay warm on through the middle of the week, even with some extra clouds around. Keep the rain gear close by, too. A few pop-up showers or a storm possible late in the day for our Tuesday, and then another pop-up shower or storm chance coming up on Wednesday. Drier and a bit cooler to finish out the work week. That's your forecast. The WSIC Weather Center, meteorologist Chase Myers.
For 42 years, Johnson's Parts and Supply has been your Auto Plus auto parts store. When you need auto parts, think Johnson's Parts and Supply. Your Auto Plus auto parts store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
Special buy Randy Marion Chevrolet of Statesville and Randy Marion Chevrolet of Mooresville 2024 brand new Chevrolet Malibus. These are the LTs starting at $19,988. That's right, $19,988 brand new. Not a pre-owned car. Malibus starting at $19,988. That's right, Statesville Chevy, Mooresville Chevy. Come see us today. Pick the color, drive it home. You got it. King of price, king of deals. Randy Marion Chevrolet of Statesville, Randy Marion Mooresville.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Yeehaw for rodeo season at Harrison's, the home of work, western, and wow. Whether you compete or cheer from the stands, Harrison has the looks to help you wow the crowd. Get western classics and the latest styles from Harriet, Cinch, Rock and Roll Denim, and Wrangler. Find us in Mooresville.
Have you taken the Desco Challenge? The people have spoken. Desco is where the professional goes for electrical supplies.
Hi, my name is Randy. I'm a general contractor, and I always trust the products at Desco.
See for yourself at DescoInc.com.
The best talk all day long.
WSIC.
Local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Capital One has finalized its $35 billion takeover of Discover. The deal completed yesterday makes the company the largest credit card issuer in the U.S. The acquisition was announced just over a year ago and was approved by the Federal Reserve last month. Stock indexes lower, Dow losing 0.1%, NASDAQ down 0.5%, S&P down 1/3. Weighing on the market, Moody's downgraded the U.S. credit rating. The move was made Friday, suggesting it was because there's been more than a decade of inaction by successive U.S. administrations and Congress to arrest a trend of large fiscal deficits. With summer approaching, companies whose services are oriented to the indoors are rolling out promotions to keep too many people from heading out. Dave & Buster's launching its first ever Summer Season Pass, which features unlimited gameplay, food and drink discounts, and other perks. And Planet Fitness is bringing back its High School Summer Pass program, which lets teens work out at its centers for free. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
The button pushing stops here.
WSIC. Local starts here.
All right, we're back with more from the Town of Huntersville on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
All right, America, we're back. And again, I will just like to highlight the importance of this conversation of affordable housing. Again, I want to thank Mr. Kris Fountain and Mrs. Mary Hunter for being here and just giving us the knowledge that we need to help empower us as residents, elected officials, just giving us that knowledge base so that we know how to govern, you know? Again, affordable housing is such a touchy topic. I'm sorry, y'all. I got braces. Touchy topic. And so, trying to implement that into your town as an elected official is really, it has been a challenge. But when you see the developers that come and their focus is, wanting to ensure that they provide affordable housing for their residents, that means a lot too. Yeah. So, I'm just grateful and blessed to have both of you here, and I appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Hunter, you on the hot seat. Okay. Are you ready?
It's getting warm over here.
It is.
I feel it.
And when you and I met, you again were a part of Habitat for Humanities, and I know your resume speaks for itself, which is an amazing resume. And since leaving Habitat for Humanities, you have managed to start affordable housing for the Carolinas. Can you please, let's talk about this, because this is huge.
For sure. Yes, definitely. Well, affordable housing for the Carolinas, it was birthed out of the work that was started at Habitat for Humanity. When Kris hired me, he gave me a task, and we took off with that task. When I say we, I'm referencing all the people who took part in making sure that we met the goals and we exceeded the goals that were set before me, to make sure that we were looking at how do we build community, how do we build hope, and how do we build, housing when I was at Habitat for Humanity. And so some of the things the key things that we were able to do, we were able to look at needs assessments. We were able to look at certain things where there were gaps in services. And so that was voiced around the table. We had representation for North Mech. I think we had about 14 people in the North Mech who represented the different stakeholders that were around the table at, on the NROC committee. Then we had about 24 people who were on the South committee. And so we came together, we recognized that there was a need, number one, for a regional voice. Although they're separate issues, there's still a need for a regional voice. Number two, we recognize that there are some things, especially when it came to critical home repair, we saw there was a huge gap because you start off by building homes, Habitat builds homes, and then Habitat does critical home repair. But what happens in the middle? What happens with the preservation of those homes, the maintenance of those homes, the education of those homes? And so we saw a huge gap where Habitat looks at, on average, of building or doing critical home repair around $30,000 to maybe $50,000. That's almost like a whole remodel of a home. There was this gap in service to say we need to have some preventative services. No different from if you go to the doctor, before you get to the doctor, you don't want to have a heart attack.
Exactly.
You want to go in and find out, what are my blood levels? What are these things? And so those are some of the reasons why, those are the gaps that we realized that were out there in that. And then there was a huge need for advocacy. And so we didn't want to just advocate for the adults. We also wanted to start off early with the children. Why? Because housing is a fundamental human right. And so as that is a human right, we wanted to prepare youth from, cradle to the grave, what they were going to be up against. So we have a component where we have programs where we do advocacy for youth and families. We have programming that the youth go through leadership academies for. We also have an Ignite Your Impact program. We do critical home repair, but our critical home repair is called an ounce of prevention, where we focus in on preventative maintenances and things like that. We have had some pretty interesting services that we provided. One of them, we actually, collaborated with Lake Norman CDC. It was right here in Huntersville. I think we've done about 4 homes in Huntersville, but this particular home, it was different. And I'm going to, be an advocate and speak out in regards to this area. It's Huntington Green.
Absolutely.
Huntington Green
Yes.
is an area that needs our immediate attention.
Absolutely.
We went into a home and did some outreach, and this particular home, single family home, she's a disabled grandmother, and she was a nurse. That's that face to affordable housing.
Exactly.
But she became disabled because she got hurt on the job. She had to take care of her grandkids, and she could not upkeep her home. And the home was in dire repair. The electrical sockets were exposed. The switches were exposed. The main unit for the fuse box was exposed. The electrical socket on the porch exposed. The children are sleeping right above these sockets, and the wires were exposed. This is a situation where it was just a matter of time before something was going to happen. It was going to turn detrimental. Many people say, well, take the children away. But you have to look at this case and say, is it better to take the children away and put them into a system, or is it cheaper to keep them in the home and repair the home? We were able to reach out to Lake Norman CDC, partner with them. They traditionally do not look at, mobile homes. But they said, this is a situation we're going to make an exception for. We'll partner with you. Let's get in there and make those updates to those homes.
That's awesome.
And so we were able to do that. We partnered with some other organizations, and we were able to do it. So that's what it looks like when you're talking about putting a face to affordable housing.
That's it.
That's some of the stuff that we do. We also started Affordable Housing Awareness Month 3 years ago. It started.
Yes. I was waiting for you to toot your horn. Go ahead, girl. Talk about it. Let's go.
Well, you're going to have to toot with me then, okay? And then Kris, too, as well as all the other people at Habitat, because we started that at Habitat. You know, and this is the third year that we had it. We kicked it off this year for the first time independently of Habitat, but Habitat was there. And we started that to bring awareness. Why did we start it?
Yes.
We started it because we wanted to bring awareness to the issue. It's celebrated across the country, but here in Charlotte, where we are, cost burden more than like other states, we had never celebrated Affordable Housing Awareness Month. So it's always important to celebrate your successes, but it's also important to say, let's have a assessment of where we're at and how can we come together as a regional approach. So that's why you'll see the city of Charlotte, the town of Huntersville, the town of Davidson. You will see Statesville, some of those places. Even this year, of course, we had South Carolina. Because if you look at HUD, this is our region, right? People are moving to these regions because they can't afford what's happening in Charlotte. And so you see that migrate out. And so that's where the displacement comes in. And so we have to look at it from a regional perspective to say, how can we come to this together? And so that's why affordable housing was created. It's something that we started together, with Habitat. But by the third year, Habitat said, hey, this is not something that we have the capacity to do. So we're going to continue that path. And it belongs to all of us. The town of Huntersville has been active in that since day one. The town of Davidson, the city of Charlotte, Statesville. So this is truly a community effort that we've been doing. And so we're so happy to continue in that legacy.
Well, thank you. Can you tell us about the community advocate program that you guys offer through your organization?
Sure. So the community advocacy program is something, to be honest with you, that it came out of a gap in service, but it's something to train people to actually advocate for different things within the community, whether it's housing, affordable housing, or it's around the quality of life, spectrum that people are in need of, whether it's transportation, health, mental health, food, those type of things. So we train people and we have them work on a project. And so this is something that I've done for many, many years. I've trained people when I was in Minneapolis to have certain projects that they work on. And so people can come, sign up, they pick their project that they want to work on, and we work with them from start to finish to say, by the time you graduate, you're going to walk away and you're going to finish this project. Some of the projects that people are working on, they may want to run for office. So we'll work with them. We don't care who which party they're a part of. Some people say they want to change policy. They want to advocate and change policy. We have young people who have gone through the program. So Mylan, he was just featured at our breakfast.
Yes.
He wanted to actually start a shoe closet in his school. So we worked with Mylan. He went through the class along with over 176 other youth. And he came up with this project. He was awarded for his project. We have people who have said that they wanted to start like schools. So that's essentially what we do. Whatever project you would like to work on, we help to build people up, build capacity, and we take it from there.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And when we come back, we're going to take another break. But when we come back, I got more for you, Ms. Hunter. So stay on guard.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Commissioner.
Sit tight. We'll be back with more after this on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
We're kicking off the new work week on a warm note, a dry note for our Monday. Partly cloudy. We're back in the mid-80s this afternoon, cooling off into the low to mid-60s overnight. We'll stay warm on through the middle of the week, even with some extra clouds around. Keep the rain gear close by, too. A few pop-up showers or a storm possible late in the day for our Tuesday, and then another pop-up shower or storm chance coming up on Wednesday. Drier and a bit cooler to finish out the work week. That's your forecast. The WSIC Weather Center, meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Thursday night, Trial by Fire performs at Langtree Live in Mooresville. This Journey tribute band takes the outdoor stage at 7 p.m. for a free concert. Take exit 31 off I-77 and come join the party at Langtree Live in Mooresville on Thursday. Live music and great cocktails are ready for you at Bin 110 in Cornelius. Thursday, May 22nd features the Pluto for Planet duo. And on Friday night, Hey Ladies performs. The staff is eager to welcome you in for your favorite drinks from the bar and shareable plates from the kitchen. Bin 110 in Cornelius is ready for you. The Live Under the Oaks concert series at Brookdale Village in Huntersville continues Friday night with Matt Stratford. Matt's vocals and guitar playing begin at 6 p.m. on the stage in the plaza. Enjoy Matt Stratford Friday at Brookdale Village in Huntersville. The 500 Club presents live music on Sunday with a Memorial Day weekend music festival. The show begins at 2 p.m. and goes until 9 p.m. Call 704-872-9990 for more information. Golfing, food, beverages, and entertainment are all at the 500 Club in Statesville. The countdown is on for NASCAR's big showdown at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. Friday features an ARCA and Truck Series doubleheader. Saturday, the Xfinity Series competes in the BetMGM 300. Sunday is NASCAR's longest race, the Coca-Cola 600. Click on charlottemotorspeedway.com for ticket and camping information. NASCAR is back at Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
All right, we're back with more from the Town of Huntersville on WSIC 105.9, 100.7, 1400 AM. Local starts here.
All right, and we're back. It's Monday, guys, so I need y'all to wake up. I know Mondays are like a long day, but listen, we are blessed to see another day.
That's right.
So let's take advantage of all opportunities. So let's just wake up happy, positive, and with a smile. So getting back to Miss Hunter, looking ahead, within the next 3 to 5 years, where do you see the affordable housing for the Carolinas? What goals do you have planned for the affordable housing of the Carolinas? Well, what are the major accomplishments, or what is it that you would like to see in the next 3 to 5 years?
Sure. Because we are a newer organization, we definitely want to make sure that we become like a household name within the Charlotte region that people will come to when it comes to preventative care of critical home repair. We also want to make sure that we're the place where people come to where they want to build capacity for their organizations, whether it's a neighborhood group or whether it's an individual or whether it's a young person that we can assist them with. We're in phase 1 of our strategy. And so we have phase 2 that's coming. That phase 2, we're going to look at, the quality of life spectrum, where we're going to be, increasing our programs. Some of those things will look like, workforce development. Some of those things will look like, healthcare or food share type of things like that. But for right now, we are still in phase 1. We want to become, better at what we do. We want to become a household name. We want people to come and join what we're doing. And of course, we want to continue Affordable Housing Awareness Month for years to come. And we want it to be a community-led event. So we welcome people to come and join us. And I just have to send this shout out. If people call in, and I'll let you get the number out to them, I do have a book that I would love to give out. And that book, it is going to be released. It's actually already released. I already have the copy of it. It is by Dr. Tom Hanchett, Affordable Housing in Charlotte, What One City's History Tells Us About America's Pressing Problems. He was our keynote speaker. And so I would love to give that out to a listener who calls in or someone who you can identify, and I can drop that back off to you sometime soon.
Absolutely. And let me give that number out to our listeners. If you want to call in and get this book, Mr. Hanchett is very powerful. He is a dynamic speaker, The books that he has already written are amazing, and they are definitely key and pivotal for learning about affordable housing. So if you are interested, you can call 844-788-3464, and you can get a free book. So please, I mean, I encourage anybody who wants to learn more, who wants to be involved more, call so you can get this free book, because that book was like, what, $30, $40?
Yeah. Well, Dr. Tom Hanchett,
But it's worth it. It is definitely
worth it. He's a local historian, Dr. Tom Hanchett. Here, he's written other books. He's collaborated with the University of North Carolina. He was a professor there. He's now retired. He's done so much on the history of Charlotte. He's doing so much around affordable housing as far as research. And so this book is a research, and this is a product of it. Like I said, he was our keynote speaker for this year. But we just want to support him, and we want to make sure that people understand. He looks at Charlotte, but he talks about how it migrates out to, the Huntersvilles, the Corneliuses, and things like that. So definitely pick up the book, check it out.
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And to you, Mr. Fountain.
Yes.
The new executive director of Lake
CEO.
Norman.
CEO.
Yes, listen.
Chief Executive Officer.
Ooh.
Wow.
What is the most important thing for people in our area, specifically our area, because we work here, we work closely here,
right,
to know about affordable housing as well as know about the Lake Norman City?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. And, as I think about the question, no one can do this by him or herself. It literally takes a village. I think about just the partnerships that we have with the affordable housing of the Carolinas, with Smithfield Community Coalition, with all of the towns of Huntersville, Davison, as well as Cornelius. I think about Habitat Charlotte region, Rebuilding Together, and so many more. We can't do this by ourselves. And so one of the things that we will continue to do, and it was launched by my predecessor, Michelle Hoverson, who did a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
Yes, she did.
Yes, to Michelle. She was amazing.
Absolutely. She laid the foundation.
Yes.
And I have big shoes to fill in her leadership and what she did. Absolutely. And she started what we call the AHA campaign, Affordable Housing Helps All.
Yes.
It's an acronym for AHA. And it encompasses all of us, because there's a housing spectrum that starts, from the unhoused all the way to affordable home ownership and everything in between. And so that particular campaign is really helping, and it kind of addresses that question that you asked earlier about, the face of affordable housing and what that looks like.
Yes.
And really changing the narrative of what that looks like.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that I would want people to understand, that, again, it is our first responders.
Yes.
It's our police officers. Someone that's in our rental bridge program right now, this person is a police officer, and he works in Cornelius, but he lives in Lincoln County. He's got to go 3 county lines away
to work.
To work, but he can't live here. And so those are some of the things that I want to just really impress upon people, and that understanding. How does that impact, someone's longevity when it comes to a job? If we look at this from a business perspective,
right?
If you have a business and you have someone that's, going 2 different counties away, how long is that person going to be there before they wind up going somewhere else?
Right.
You know what I mean? So these are some of the
Absolutely.
things that we want to think about how it impacts. When we talk about affordable housing, it impacts all the industries. It impacts all of us. So the other thing too is that, with my perspective of being around for about 30 years, 30 years ago when I was had my own real estate company and so forth, the average sales price of a home 30 years ago was probably about $85,000. Now,
Must be nice.
I'm gonna let that pause for a minute.
Right.
$85,000. Yeah, that was the average for a first time home buyer. I should say for a first time home buyer.
Yes.
That's what it was. First time home buyer home, about $85,000. You know, the median age, the median sales price for homes now, particularly like in Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson, we're talking anywhere from $550,000 to $600,000.
Yeah.
So you know, you see this exponential increase in sales prices, and that's been driven by a number of different factors: supply and demand. You got a lot of people coming in here in the Charlotte area, whatever. This is a lovely place. I came here 15 years ago, so I'm a migrant too. You know what I mean? So, right, all of us, yeah. So you know, you got a lot of people coming here, so that's putting up a lot of pressure. That's limiting the supply, increasing the demand. You know, the cost to build a home, you know, whether it's for rental or for home ownership, is just significantly higher than what it used to be. The labor costs more. The materials cost more. All these things are driving up the prices.
Yeah.
However, and unfortunately, the wages and the salaries are not increasing at that same level. So 30 years ago, although the first-time home buyer was $85,000, but the average salary was about $40,000. So it was still more affordable, you know, back then than it is now.
Absolutely.
So these are some things that we're looking at, you know, like for Lake Norman, how can we help? We got the rental bridge program. We have our critical home repair funding program, which we don't do the critical home repair, but we, you know, essentially provide financing or layered financing to other nonprofit organizations like the Affordable Housing of the Carolinas and others, you know. So we're looking at that. But then we also, hopefully, if we get the grant for it, we're going to be doing some down payment assistance as well. For down payment assistance, it's going to be a pilot.
Yes.
So I'm launching this out. This is new
that's
news
nice.
right
That's
now,
awesome.
publicly
Hey,
right now. You guys get
news.
exclusive news.
Hot
But
off the
hopefully,
press.
hot off the press.
Say that one more time so we can get that.
So hopefully in 30 days, we'll have a pilot program for down payment assistance to help people, again, with down payment in the North Mecklenburg area. So that's what we're hoping for.
And you know, this is so important because right now in our nation, under the new administration, there's a lot of funding that's being cut. You know?
Exactly.
And so traditional funding that we've seen, there's organizations that have been doing work for many, many years that are closing down. They're closing their doors or they're cutting back because they simply don't have the funding that they were looking at. We're going to be looking more so to organizations like Lake Norman CDC to step up and to help. And so that's why it's so important to help, you know, because they are doing the work, you know, and helping to fund some of the work that's out there. So I just want to commend Lake Norman CDC because they are one of our major partners that we have. And they've done some great work in all three, in the North Mech area as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I appreciate that. You know, time, talent, and treasure is what we all need.
That's it.
To really, you know, continue. We need volunteers. We need talented people who are social media gurus, content creators, everything else like that. We need that. And then lastly, we need treasure. We need the finances. We need the money. We need the donations for all of our nonprofits.
Thank you. And thank you both again. What a great way to end it out with time, talent, and treasure. I appreciate you both. If there is anything that you ever need from me, the town of Huntersville, all of us, the Northern region, please don't hesitate. Because like you said, it takes us all. It takes a village. So thank you to my listeners today. I hope we didn't bore you. I know we didn't because I'm your favorite commissioner. So you guys enjoy your Monday. Have an amazing day. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Town board meeting.
From work to western wear, boots and saddlery, Nelson Royals has it all. Mention WSI